Well, hello everyone and welcome to Race Week, where we today will be reviewing what was an action-packed Eifel Grand Prix at the Nürburgring, which saw Lewis Hamilton take his 91st Grand Prix win, equaling Michael Schumacher's record. He is now joint the most successful driver when it comes to race wins in F1 history, and now it looks likely that Michael Schumacher's records are going to be broken. So, before we go into the race report, make sure you check out the RaceWeek website at raceweekblog.com, as well as also follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/raceweek_show. So, without further ado, let's go in to the race report. So, the race got underway and Lewis Hamilton got a better launch than Bottas off the line on the run-up. And it did look like he was going to take the lead going into the first corner. He did try his best. He ran Bottas incredibly wide going into the first corner. But Bottas got the drive off the corner and had the high ground going into the second corner, which enabled him to maintain the lead. Elsewhere, Ricciardo got ahead of Albon. And the first few laps, it all looked like it could end up being quite stale, but it did not turn out to be that way. The first of the pitters that came on lap 8 when Alex Albon pitted in after a flat spot. And then the main interest in the early stage of the race was Ricciardo battling with Leclerc. And it did take quite a while for him to be able to get past. Following did not seem that easy around the circuit. It seemed that the corners just before both of the DRS zones were the drivers suffered from dirty air a lot. But Ricciardo managed to get past Leclerc for 4th place, whilst the other Ferrari was not having a good day. Vettel spun it. Here you can see Sebastian Vettel having a spin in the process of trying to get past one of the Alfa Romeo cars. And it once again, it was a bad day for him. And then Valtteri Bottas ran wide at the first corner. That gave Lewis Hamilton the invitation he needed to get through into the lead of the race. Immediately, Valtteri Bottas came into the pits. And then the virtual safety car came out as Kimi Raikkonen hit George Russell into a spin. Russell tried to get going, but his rear tyre was destroyed and he had to park his car. That brought out the virtual safety car, and then that enabled both Hamilton and Bottas to pit and get out ahead of Valtteri Bottas. On the virtual safety car restart, you had a collision between Alex Albon and Danny Kvyat, where Danny Kvyat lost his front wing. I don't know what was going on with Albon today. It felt like he was just simply trying too hard. And he's usually got great racecraft. Racecraft is usually his strength. But today it just wasn't there, and it was probably not his best day, it can be said. And then, after that, there was drama. Valtteri Bottas suffered, I believe it was an MGUK issue, and he had to retire from the race. And this is going to be massive damage to his title chances. It was a real shame for him because especially after getting pole, that now he has lost. That momentum has been broken by a mechanical failure. The track seemed to be quite hard. Not sure what it was, but maybe the colder temperatures, the engines weren't used to. You had Esteban Ocon retiring with what seemed like a hydraulic issue, and then Alex Albon had a power unit issue. They not specified why. I mean, at the time it looked like they just had enough of his drive, considering how many incidents he was involved in. People were speculating they just retired him as a punishment. And then also Lando Norris was having issues. He was apparently they they were wondering if it was a sensor that was wrong, but he was really down on power at that moment in time. Which was a shame. He was having a good day and then he was dropping down the order. As you can see, there's Sergio Perez getting past him. And eventually, his engine shut off and he had to bring his car to a stop. Although, the silver lining is we were treated to a quite meme-worthy moment. Alonso in the deck chair, followed by Lando Norris in the deck chair. And this is going to circulate on social media quite a lot. That picture. That brought out the safety car. And that closed the pack right up. And Lewis Hamilton got the restart really well. But Max Verstappen, not so much. He went wide and was under attack from Ricciardo, who was looking on for his maiden podium. But he had a wild Sergio Perez right behind him. There was a lot of, towards the end of the race, there was a lot of battling towards the end of the points. As you can see, there was a wheel-banging moment between Vettel and Magnussen in the battle for the final point. But then Lewis Hamilton crossed the line to take his 91st Formula 1 victory. I mean, who would have thought back in 2007, Canada to 2007, when he crossed the line to take the first one, that 90 more would follow, and counting as well. Considering, and that he is now on the verge of breaking Michael Schumacher's record. Because remember, he entered F1 just after Michael retired after his first career. And then who would have thought that he would be the one to break Michael Schumacher's record? We knew he was good, but I don't think anyone thought that this could follow. And it was Lewis Hamilton, as I said, who took the win. Max Verstappen took the fastest lap on the last lap, ahead of Daniel Ricciardo in third, Sergio Perez in fourth. Daniel Ricciardo won also another popular result, getting Renault's first podium since 2010 as a constructor, since 2010, or 2011 more like. We're not really sure whether to say 2011 because they weren't really, because that's when Lotus had taken, the year that Lotus took over. But it was a really good result, and I'm pretty sure tattoo parlours around the Nürburgring area are now seeing dollar signs in their eyes, considering that now Cyril Abiteboul has to get a tattoo. And Daniel Ricciardo has been one of the stars of the last few races. It has to be said. In fifth place, you had Carlos Sainz, head of Pierre Gasly. Another great drive from Pierre Gasly to finish in sixth place. Despite the fact that the AlphaTauri seemed to have absolutely no pace whatsoever. Like, they were even under attack from the Hasses and the Alfa Romeos, which is not usual, but he got the strategy right. They got the strategy right after the safety car, switching to softs. He managed to get past Charles Leclerc after the restart, and he took the place. And then 8th place, it was driver of the day winner, Nico Hülkenberg. I said that he was going to be one to look out for today, as he was getting used to the car around this circuit throughout the race, and probably got quicker throughout. And then he managed to progress and finish in 8th from last. In 9th place was Romain Grosjean, taking his first 2 points of the year. And considering that he was battling pain after a bit of gravel was thrown in, after his finger got smashed into by a bit of gravel on the exit of a corner, that was quite a good effort from him. Probably one of his best career performances, with Antonio Giovinazzi getting the final point. Sebastian Vettel once again misses out on points ahead of Kimi Räikkönen, who was in the wars a lot. He got a 10-second time penalty for the contact for taking out George Russell. Then you had Kevin Magnussen in 13th, Nicholas Latifi in 14th, and Danny Kvyat could not recover from when he lost his front wing early on. And the retirements were Norris, Albon, Ocon, Bottas, not Bottas, bit of a typo there, and Russell. So, now it's time to go into a team-by-team review of this race, where we review how each team got on in reverse constructors order. George Russell actually said on Twitter whilst the race was finishing that considering how the race was going, he could be in a chance of points. Real shame that he got taken out. Nicholas Latifi did not have much. He had quite a It seemed to have he had quite a battle with Kvyat at the end. They kept swapping around quite a lot, but a missed opportunity for Williams, I think it could be said. A good day for them, scoring 2 points, which is more than they have already scored so far this year. They now sit on 2 points behind Alfa Romeo, but still they have a way to go. Again, a point for Antonio Giovinazzi. They'll be quite pleased to take that, especially as considering Haas have closed the gap in that battle in the constructors, but still not showing that much pace. But shout out to Kimi Räikkönen, now the most experienced driver in Formula 1, now the most race starts in history, and it looks like he does have he's going to have one more year in him. As I said earlier, AlphaTauri appeared to have absolutely no race pace whatsoever. But eventually, Pierre Gasly was able to get himself on the right strategy and finish in 6th place. And AlphaTauri are quickly now, or not really quickly, but slowly starting to reel in Ferrari for 6th in the constructors' standings. And potentially being the top Italian team in Formula 1. It can be said, though, that the asset that is keeping Ferrari ahead of AlphaTauri is Charles Leclerc. Another good drive from him, and he is I think, as I said yesterday, he is proving himself more this year than he was last year, driving what is clearly a very difficult car, but being able to take it to places where really it does not belong. So I think you can only commend Charles Leclerc for the job that he is doing this year, and I think he's driving better than we have seen him so far in the 3 years that he has done in Formula 1. I mean, his qualifying lap yesterday was amazing. Sebastian Vettel, I'm pretty sure he is looking forward to getting out of Ferrari and moving to Aston Martin next year. Of course, there are a lot of celebrations at Renault, taking their first podium since their return to Formula 1 as a constructor, with Daniel Ricciardo taking a 3rd place. Well deserved. We knew he had that podium coming, and he's had 5 top 6 finishes in a row, and he is reminding us as to why he was seen as so highly rated whilst he was at Red Bull. Renault currently sit on 114 points, just 2 points behind McLaren and 6 points behind Racing Point. And this is going to be a very tight battle for 3rd in the constructors. Next up, we have McLaren. A disappointing day for them after that Lando Norris's retirement proved quite costly for them because that could have kept them in third in the constructors' standings. But Carlos Sainz finished in 5th, made sure that they still got a reasonable points haul, but they have lost 3rd place in the constructors' standings. It was a good day for them. It was not the podium, but 4th and 8th was a good points haul for them, and they have now taken 3rd place in the constructors' standings. Although they have a long way to go to defend it, with Racing Point, McLaren, and Renault so closely matched. That is going to be one of the biggest points of interest in the remaining 6 races this year, because they are having an incredible battle. I mean, 3rd place in the constructors must be worth a lot of money compared to 4th and 5th, and it could be whoever takes that place could have a massive advantage when it comes to, because of the prize money. Next up, we have Red Bull. I'd say a good day for them. They were kind of on par with much more on par with Mercedes than they have been before. But considering Verstappen's qualifying pace, I'm pretty sure there will be a little bit of disappointment that they didn't get the win. But I think Red Bull could be proud of today. Of course, Mercedes once again had the quickest car, though they weren't bulletproof today, as Valtteri Bottas retired with an MGU-K problem, I believe it was. It wasn't a smooth weekend with the 2 COVID tests and having to get different people in. But they managed to get through it and managed to take another victory with Lewis Hamilton. And they obviously still look on to take a 7th Constructors' title in a row. So now I'm going to be talking about the drivers' standings right now. I haven't got them written down on the screen yet, but which they will be for the midweek recap. But Lewis Hamilton now has a 69-point lead going into the Portuguese Grand Prix in a couple of weeks' time. And to be honest, it is hard to see Lewis giving up a 69-point lead. He's almost the equivalent of 3 race victories in front. I actually wonder when he actually could possibly win the championship next. What the first race where he could possibly win is. Valtteri Bottas has lost a lot of points after his retirement, and in fact, he's only 14 points ahead of Max Verstappen in 2nd. Daniel Ricciardo has moved up into 4th place, and to be honest, just like the constructors' battle, the battle for 4th in the driver's standings is going to be interesting, because you've got Ricciardo, Perez, Norris, Albon, and even possibly the club, and maybe Stroll as well, all with a shot at getting it. Maybe even Gasly, if he continues to deliver the way that he has been doing. I mean, it's going to be a fascinating battle. Then you have Carlos Sainz Jr. in 11th. He could possibly be in that battle as well if he gets a good haul of points in the last 6 races. Then you have Ocon, Vettel, Kvyat, Hulkenberg. In all the races that he's stood in, he's proven to be a real good substitution at Racing Point. Pretty sure that if any team is missing a driver, they'll be all fighting to have him. Then you have Giovinazzi in 16th, then you have Raikkonen, Grosjean and Magnussen, with the 2 Williams drivers, the only drivers yet to score a point. So, that is it from the Eifel Grand Prix review. Make sure to stay tuned for a written review on the RaceWeek website, where there will be a written review of some key points from this weekend's Eifel Grand Prix. software. And you can see that on the RaceWeek site. Make sure you check out at raceweekblog.com. And also make sure you follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/raceweek_show. And subscribe to us on YouTube. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe for more RaceWeek content. Thank you very much for watching and tuning into our coverage this weekend. And we will see you next week. Or in 2 weeks in terms of the review, the live recap. We'll see you in a couple of weeks for the Portuguese Grand Prix. We'll see you next week for the midweek recap, which will be the next live stream. Goodbye.